Welcome back to Old Man Media, episode 3.
Episode 3, first one in person.
Oh wait, episode 4.
No? Episode 4.
Forgot about
We've
the one
already
we...
lost track.
It's so fucking many, man. This is, the train don't stop coming. We're in person for this one. I'm staring at Will.
And I'm Will.
His big brown, beautiful eyes across the room.
It's a very odd setup we've got going here. We're close to you, but not at the same time.
I'm sat on the other side of the room on the bed, going into my phone voice memo.
Yeah, Paul looks quite seductive. On the bed.
My phone's on charge, so I have to be on the bed.
Quite Titanic-esque. Right, so I think 4 episodes in, we should probably do a little bit of a get to know you type thing.
Yeah.
So I thought we'd discuss our 4 favourite albums and films. Do like a letterboxed top 4.
Letterboxd top 4.
And also kind of Desert Island Discs type thing.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's get straight into the nitty gritty. We're going films, books, movies.
Films, books, movies.
Sorry, films, albums, and books. I really wanted to say movies.
You said films, so I only just clocked that. But yeah, films, albums, books. Yeah.
I'm going Giat for Giat.
So, what did you just say?
Giat for Giat.
As it was my idea, do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
I don't know.
Alright. So, are we giving a bit of backstory, or I assume we're going to go into it a little bit.
Well, we've got to fill up minutes on this podcast we're recording, so yeah. Probably a bit of... Don't just
list films for an hour.
Don't just list 4 films, list 4...
And then we'll call it at 10 minutes. Okay. So, I mean, the idea originated from Desert Island Discs, where they give a bit of a background, and you're supposed to choose 7 songs that have meaning to you, and then you choose one of those songs. But we're not going to do that. We'll just talk a little bit about why it's one of our favourites. So my first one is All About My Mother by Pedro Almodovar. I first watched this film in my first year of college, so when I was about 16, 17. And I still remember the feeling of coming out of the classroom after our teacher had shown us, and thinking, wow, that was genuinely life-changing. Immediately at that moment I was like, this is a big moment. That's what films. I never watched anything quite like that made me feel so many emotions, and I was like, that's what film can be.
What is this film? What's it
So,
about?
All About My Mother is a Spanish language film set mostly in Madrid, I believe, and it's about this mother who is. I actually haven't seen it in a few years now, and I can't remember the full plot. But it's about a mother whose child gets run over outside of a performance of Streetcar Named Desire, and she is utterly devastated, and she moves from Barcelona to Madrid, and most of the film takes place in Madrid. It's about her kind of finding herself, getting connected to all of these different women, and there's this one nun who gets pregnant. And there's a whole big thing. That's Penelope Cruz, one of I think quite an early film for her. And there's also this transgender prostitute who becomes a quite good friend of hers, and there's a whole thing there. And it's incredibly melodramatic, and Almodovar takes a lot from Douglas Sirk, who's a big in the genre of melodrama. And it's all everything that's happening to them is so much, and it's a lot, but it feels so grounded at the same time. It feels implausible, but also so grounded still. And it's a really fantastic film. All of the performances are just incredible, and if you're not moved to tears, then I don't know what's wrong with you. That's my first one. Do you want to go next?
Yeah. My first film on my list is Deer Hunter.
Nice.
I went through a phase where I wanted to watch all of De Niro's films. I was just started watching Taxi Driver and Goodfellas and started being like, well, I got obsessed with De Niro, and understandably so, because he is such a
Great actor.
yeah, but also there's something about him. You want to understand him more. He's so like as a person impenetrable. Just serves the roles on screen. So I wanted to watch as much of many of his movies as possible. And I came upon The Deer Hunter, and I remember seeing pictures of it, and I just imagined in my head what it was going to be like, and I just imagined it being this dude hunting a deer, kind of like I thought it was going to be like the Revenant of its time. I really had this particular vision of what it was going to be like going into the film.
I've actually not seen that film. I've been meaning to for a long time, but I already know that it's not like that at all.
I don't know. I just had this idea of what it was going to be like, and I saw like snapshots from the beginning of the film when he actually is out hunting with his friends, and he's wearing these like full hunter gear, and like he's got like the sniper rifle on his back and a little beanie. But yeah, what the film actually undertakes is it's about a group of men from like a rural village in America, and it's about them being conscripted into the army, fighting the Vietnam War.
Right.
And then you end up following their whole journey from, it's like the beginning of the film. You're with them, and there's like some sort of dance. They're graduating, and I think they're all like celebrating before they get conscripted to go off in the army. And then they've all got like like relationships and high school flings, and then you watch them go from that like setting of the intro to get thrown into the horrors of war, and then they can't, and that's only like a certain like small amount of the movie, and then they're thrown back again, and most of the movie is post Vietnam, them trying to come to terms with what they've been through. And I felt like in that sort of the way I went about it is one of the most moving Vietnam War movies I've seen, because it doesn't focus on the action so much as it focuses on the trauma and the aftermath. And that was a big part of the aftermath of the Vietnam War in America, is the veterans they're left behind and the people that were forgotten about. And it really moved me. It really made me feel something. And it's Christopher Walken's in it.
Oh, fantastic.
It is probably the best role I've seen him in. Like, his performance in that like shook me to my core. It's so fucking scary, to be honest, because of what he goes through, and he plays someone who just has PTSD, and it's scary because I don't want to say too much about spoiling the film, but he just can't get out of the war mindset, basically.
Yeah, I feel like Christopher Walken got a bit like kind of mummified, didn't he? Because of the voice and that. But he is such an incredible actor. King of New York by Abel Ferreira. It's a great film. I think it's really, really good, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Cool. That was good. My second film is The Long Goodbye by Robert Altman. So based on the novel by Raymond Chandler. It follows P.I. Oh man, I can't remember his name now. Philip Marlowe. As he traverses through the city of Los Angeles.
Isn't it based off French detective novels?
No.
Is it not?
No. I actually don't know the timeline. I know that Raymond Chandler's books are incredibly influential in the PI genre, and a lot of like that kind of hard-boiled detective stuff came from Raymond Chandler, and how popular his books were. Which, I mean, if you haven't read them, like the prose in them is just incredible. Just such a perfectly like written thing to come up with a style and to be able to perfect it in the way Raymond Chandler does. I think is just really well done. And then I've actually not read that one. I've read all the ones leading up to it, but I'm going to read that one next.
For some reason, I thought it was like based on. I thought there was something French about The Long Goodbye.
No. Raymond Chandler's very much an LA screenwriter.
Oh, don't know where I got that idea from.
Yeah, I don't know much about French PI novels. I know a bit about American ones, but yeah, I mean the plot follows Philip Marlowe as his friend comes to him one night and is saying I think he's saying I have to disappear or something, but he goes off and then winds up dead. And, Philip's like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I gave this guy a lift to Mexico, and now he's, all of this. And then, but it follows like this big, like just web of lies in LA. And he goes all over the place, meets all these like crazy, zany characters. And, but it's just Elliot Gould plays Philip Marlowe in the film adaptation. And he plays him so slick, so cool. Just all the time. It's just everything that happens, just water off a duck's back. Just every single surface in that film a match is struck off of, so he can light his cigarette, and his catchphrase is "That's okay with me," and he just waltzes through LA, getting arrested, being harassed by drunks, and there's not a moment in there you don't think he's the coolest guy to ever live. He's just it's really great, fantastic. I mean, what Altman did is he changed it from the 40s in LA to the 70s. So there was a bit of a style switch there, but I think Altman does it so perfectly. I mean, I actually haven't read The Long Goodbye, but I think everything that Raymond Chandler was trying to say about LA could still be said in the 70s, and I think he does a really good job of. I mean, I haven't been to LA, but the LA that's being portrayed on film is at no times unbelievable. It feels like this is something that could happen in the seedy underbelly of. What do they call LA? What's the nickname? How do they? No, not something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, your second favourite?
Okay, my second favourite film is, I'm not that I'm ordering these, but I put Cleo 5 to 7.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We were actually talking about this earlier, so I kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to spoil the surprise. But I think from the moment that I watched this movie, I love the concept of it, that you're literally following a woman's life from 5 to 7, like 2 hours of someone's life, and that concept really kind of stuck with me, because throughout the film so much happens to her in 2 hours, and it puts a kind of spotlight on the unpredictability of life and how things can hit you. To be honest, I haven't watched it in a while and I've forgotten the main story, but I remember really, really liking it, so I've put it as... No, it's good. It's been a while since I've seen it as well. Agnes Varda's great. She's such a talented. I also just wanted to make sure we had a female director.
Yeah, it's probably best because I haven't got any. Well, Pedro Almodovar's gay. I think that covers some bases.
Okay. No comment.
No, I've also got no female directors. Whoops.
Well, we got one. Agnes Varda's French as well.
How do you pronounce Agnes Varda? Is it Agnes? No,
Agnes Varda.
You're part French, so I thought you might know.
That's how you say it.
Yeah.
Probably. Agnes Varda. The one female director we get on, and we're just laughing about how to say her name, and I'm like, I can't really remember the film that much, but no, the film was really good. I remember it really moving me, but for some reason right now I can't think of a single thing that happens in it. She find out she's pregnant. Spoilers.
I don't remember. Have you seen Viva La Vie?
Yes.
If you like Cleo from 5 to 7, you like Viva La Vie.
Well, because it's directed by a man.
Yeah, it's obviously even better.
That's what's his face, isn't it? Godard.
Yeah. God, it's getting hot in here, isn't it?
I need to tighten it up a notch. With some hot movie picks.
Right, so Viva La Vie, great film you should watch if you like Clear from 5 to 7. It's very similar in that it follows a day in the life of a woman, but this one is she
She's a cool girl or something.
I feel, I was going to say she's a prostitute, but I can't remember if that's exactly her job. It's something, but it's great, that film. It's edited, like, it's got the quite a famous edit in it where he, like, edits, but, like, to the sound of a machine gun, like, across the cafe as though someone's being shot outside. It's really cool. But that nearly made it on my list, but didn't quite. Sorry, I used your one to talk about my thoughts. Is there anything else you'd like to say about that one?
Just really liked it.
Great, I'm glad we covered a really informative conversation. So my third film is Casablanca by Michael Curtiz. Came out in I think during the war, so I think it was 1944. And it's about Sam. No, it's not about Sam. That's the line from the famous line from the film is "Play it again, Sam." But no, Rick. Rick, his name is played by Humphrey Bogart.
Adrian Brody.
Also called Adrian Brody. Yeah, also known as Adrian Brody. He owns a cafe in Casablanca, and one day his ex-mistress walks in, who he'd last seen when the tanks had come in Paris, and they had to escape, and they hadn't seen each other since. And Rick is now kind of this jaded older man who doesn't believe in love anymore, and then
my guy.
Then towards the end of the film, he falls back in love with the woman, and then the film is 80 years old. You know, I think it was alright for me to spoil it. But
I've never seen it.
well, that's on you. And then he starts to believe in love again towards the end, and he falls back in love with her, but then realises that the best thing for the war, best thing for her, and the best thing for her partner, her new partner, is if they both went together and he left them and doesn't chase the girl. And I think it's this really... have you ever seen the film Adaptation?
Mm-hmm.
There's the screenwriter in that says that Casablanca is the best screenplay ever written.
What, Charlie Kaufman?
No. The guy in the film, the screenwriter in the film that Nick Cage talks to. But anyway, I was just saying I was going to agree with him. I think it's just a classic screenplay. It's just a classic 3-act. You go you have the balance, the disruption, balance, and it just everything in it. The characters are so perfect. The performances are perfect. Everything about that film. I love like Golden Age Hollywood, so I had to choose something from that, and I think that is just a shining example of why I love that stuff. Really good, and I could watch Humphrey Bogart for hours. He's great. And also Ingrid Bergman, possibly one of the hottest women to ever live.
Old Man Media. Wheel. My third movie pick is La Haine.
Is that how you pronounce it in French?
La Haine.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's I was going to make sure I've included one French film. I included one French New Wave film anyway.
Right.
Because that's another reason why I added Cleo 5 to 7 in there. But
yeah. You included 2.
Is it La Haine a New Wave film?
Oh no, it's French though.
It's French, yeah. I just think it's just a film that blew me away when I watched it, and it's so over talked about that it feels a bit daunting to watch it for the first time. You're like, is it going to match up to the hype? Is it going to be... I don't know, but yeah, it's just... it's so good. I love that bit with In the Mirror, which said it was inspired by... Is it Taxi Driver? Yeah, they were inspired where they shoot that whole scene, and it's not a mirror, they've got a double, an actor playing his double.
And they actually go through the mirror, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really well shot, lots of cool little bits like that, but I think underlying the film, it has just like a really, really moving message on sort of young gang violence and how you can get wrapped up in that life, and it's quite a moving story on the casualties that ensue from that, and yeah, racism, and I'm not sure. It's hard because I don't know my French history very well, but it's obviously capturing a very specific time.
Yeah, there was a time, I think it came out shortly after there was severe police brutality.
Some riots and stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah,
It was like the political tensions were quite high, and I think it does a really good job of capturing that very specific moment in French history that otherwise might not even be spoken about that much. Because like I say, I first learned about this whole period in French history through this film. But yeah, all black and white, and it's just
classic. Yeah, so good.
Just I think it does everything for its benefit. Really, it's so stylized. It's so almost what's the word? It's efficient.
Yeah, I'd say definitely. Yeah,
I don't know how long it is, but
it feels sparse, but also so populated at the same time.
Yeah,
like the black and white makes it. Yeah, it gives it like a very old timey feel, but then also feels so new and so energetic, very youthful.
Yeah, like the outfits in it feel timeless. Like it kind of feels like it could be a Guy Ritchie movie as well.
Almost a little bit, yeah. Yeah, there's so many little bits in that. There's like weird little asides all the time. Do you know what I mean? Not everything in that film is like for a narrative.
There's
purpose.
that bit in the toilet where that guy comes in. I can't remember what he says. He's like talking about. He starts telling a story about how he like got off this bus to piss when he was like a prisoner or something, or like in the war, and it was in the snow, and then he gets like left behind, and it's this really minor bit in the film, but it's like this deep. He tells this like almost fable, parable story about not getting off the bus to piss. I can't remember the. I'll have to look it up, but it's stuff like that where it just it goes off the path of the narrative, but it just kind of builds the world. You know, it might not be for service of the story, but there's a lot of world building in it.
Yeah, I hate that nowadays where everyone thinks everything in the film has to be in service of the plot and has to move the plot along. I just think it's okay, because that's just like, it's almost just a hangout movie. That it's just that they're just three good friends just hanging out, and that it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I love those movies that really, it feels like you're just a snapshot in someone's life. It's just like you're kind of following the day of, or the time of someone. I don't know. I feel like there are quite a few movies that have been able to get that right. I feel like Pulp Fiction's quite a good example of just following a certain time period and characters, and not worrying about the overarching narrative, and just focusing on getting to know them and the world building and.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I think I feel like there's more of a plot in Pulp Fiction than there is in my head. But have you ever seen MASH as well?
No.
MASH, like the original film. Was also Robert Altman. That's very much a similar thing in that it just is a few guys hanging out and pulling pranks on each other, but it's like set during the Korean War, but does have this kind of very like overarching message about the Korean War and like people's attitudes towards it. Yeah, it's good that. Anyway, so La Haine by Matteo Kassovitz or something?
Sure.
Alright, cool, we'll go with that. So my fourth is, as I was moving ahead, occasionally I saw brief glimpses of beauty. Bit of a mouthful, that one. By Jonas Mekas. So a little bit of background on this film. Mekas was a prisoner in a Nazi concentration camp. And he was trying to escape Lithuania during the war, and basically the Soviets are coming in, and they want him for the war machine. They want all able-bodied young men for the war machine, and so he tries to escape them and tries to escape the Nazis who are also going in from the other side, and eventually gets caught by the Nazis in the kind of like I think pretty much the last weeks of the war, and they get caught in Denmark. And in Denmark, him and his brother are forced into a concentration camp, and then they escape out of this concentration camp, and they go to a farm. They find a farm, and they hide out in this farm until the war blows over. And then he goes to a refugee assignment camp, and then a couple of years later, he basically gets sent to New York, and he lives the rest of his life in New York. He visits Lithuania a couple of times, but the rest of his life in New York. And he makes this film, as I was moving ahead, from his Bolex camera, which is like essentially like your family's camcorder, except it was on film or whatever. And so he spent, I think it's like 30 or 40 years, possibly even 50 years, recording his family's life with this, essentially what is a handheld camcorder in today's sense. And the shots that he gets are beautiful. I mean, he is a renowned experimental filmmaker, so he's not just like your dad picking up a camera. He's he is a filmmaker, and he gets this.
Hey, my dad's a fucking machine behind the camera. Mate.
Is he?
Yeah. Frame composition,
lighting,
like rule of thirds.
Yeah.
And he gets these really special shots of just like his life and everything that's like important to him. The smile on his daughter's face, his wife in bed in the morning, the sun's light on a cat's tail. All of these little things, they add up to this really well-lived life, and you can tell that he's just so thankful for it. He even puts throughout the film these little slide cards that are like, this is not a political film. This is a political film. And which is really weird, because obviously it's not, it's just this guy's family life. And but I think it's him being very thankful that he survived the war, basically, and that he gets to live this life. And it's a really moving thing. There's a little bit of narration over some of it, where he talks just about his philosophy on life and how he loves snow and stuff like that.
Yeah, me too, brother.
And but a lot of it's just shots with music over the top, like classical music, and you just see this guy's life, and I think it's really fascinating. It looks great. I think the Bolex camera looked really cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely wanting to check that out at the moment. I keep seeing it pop up on like Letterboxd and stuff, and I just think the title really grips me.
I've had it tattooed on me. It's great film. It's obviously a bit daunting one because it's like 4.5, 5 hours, but yeah, it's great, and it's well worth a watch. Maybe split it up. I didn't think you had to watch it in one sitting. I think that's a bit much.
Yeah, I did see it was that long, and I was like, I'm gonna have to like dim the lights and spend a whole day watching this.
Yeah, it is a whole day.
And it's probably a bit bleak.
No, I would say it's like heartwarming, genuinely like very life affirming. Very much so. I think it's like I think it's weird to say that a film changed you, but I think there are a couple of films like that and All About My Mother. I genuinely thought after I finished, like, oh, like that's made me think about life differently. I think that's one of those films.
You can't really unparallel that when it comes to a piece of art.
Yeah, that's essentially is what art's about, isn't it? Making you feel something.
My last film, I had to include a Scorsese in there.
Yeah, I'm surprised you've not said a PTA yet. What Scorsese going with?
I could definitely. The thing is, I've just been like trying to put what my favourites are when I think about them at the moment, and also try and give a well-rounded list of favourites. But then, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have included a documentary in here, but my favourite Scorsese. I wanted to kind of throw a curveball out there because it's not. I don't know how many people's favourite this would be. And it's not even like an old or niche one, but I just think it is like a master of his craft, a master of the whole mob film genre, which is what a lot of people get into Scorsese for. He hasn't always got that throughout all of his films, but the ones he does have, he is obviously very well known for. So I'm going to top off my list with The Irishman.
Right.
I thought it was just like a modern masterpiece, and it kind of scratches that same itch of watching Goodfellas again, or Mean Streets, or even like Casino, although I'm not a big fan of Casino. But I just felt it was so much more bleak and real than these films. Those films really glamorized the mob life and really glamorized crime, and it's very much that whole like ride to the top and then kind of the fall. Whereas I just feel like in The Irishman, it's like it's never even that glamorous, and you're watching this guy basically be like a working class henchman for most of his career.
Almost. He's like an indentured servant.
Just commits all these crimes without thinking, and then ends up becoming estranged and alienated from his family, and at the end of his life, what has he got for show for it apart from the fact that he was loyal? And it's just very, very bleak, and I guess it probably is a comment on how he was a soldier, like this main character, and it's kind of he's put that same mindset into the mob and his role but yeah, even with like the kind of dodgy face aging technology, I still really, really rate this film.
That never bothered me really. Yeah.
No, it was like funny if you take it out of context for a second, but when I actually watched the whole film, I just think the music's great. Is it what's that slide song? Sleepwalking, I think it's called.
I can't remember.
And it's like that.
Wasn't it Robbie Robertson did most of the stuff for that?
Maybe I'm thinking about like the actual like needle drops,
Oh right. Yeah, I wonder who chooses the needle drops, whether it's Scorsese or probably not the composer.
Yeah, it's definitely Scorsese. He gets a big say.
He loves a needle drop.
But yeah,
What's your favourite needle drop in a Scorsese song? I think mine's... Is it Monkey Man when he's like real high on cocaine?
No, that's Jump Into Fire by
Jump
Harry
Into the
Nilsson.
Fire. Doesn't he use Monkey Man in that film?
I think so.
But I think Jump Into the Fire... I love Jump Into the Fire, and I think actually, yeah, that one could be.
I quite like Layla.
Yeah.
But he only uses the piano outro, and it's like the bit with the garbage vans reversing, and then it's like... I can't remember, I don't even know what it is. It's loads of people getting whacked, and then a couple of people get whacked and put into a garbage van, and it's like the outro to Layla, and it's like as things are wrapping up, it's getting to the end of their sort of golden era of mobsters, and everyone's ratting on each other, and it's just like it just fits perfectly,
Yeah, because he uses "Sunshine of Your Love" as well. And
that's the bit where like. They're selling coke behind Paulie's back and stuff, and they're like walking into the bar, and they're like all like they've got nice coats and nice stuff, but they're not really explaining where it's from. And De Niro's like involved, but kind of trying to keep, and he's turning around and smoking a cigarette, and it's like
he's like slightly going. And he has the crazy glasses on as well. Is that the bit where he has the glasses? Where his eyes are really huge.
Oh no, that's the bit where he's like trying to whack. Well, the wife thinks she's going to get whacked. He's like, hey, no, come through here. The dresses are through here. She's like, I'm okay.
Yeah, he's got the real weird glasses on. No, we could spend ages talking about Goodfellas. This wasn't even one on the list.
The Irishman, and Joe Pesci is great in it, and Stephen Graham is fantastic in his... I feel like this was a real breakout role for him to get into the American sort of film circuit.
He's been in quite a few...
Since that movie, he's been raking him up. He's obviously in the Springsteen biopic, which we spoke about on episode 2.
I feel like Stephen Graham's just someone that's like always been around, especially British TV. I guess this was the first time I saw him.
Yeah, I mean he was in Peaky Blinders. Was he? He was in This Is England.
This Is England. Yeah, that's what I think. Like the first thing I saw him in.
This Is England is obviously like that, put him on the map. But I don't know. I just feel like you would see him in like weird kind of BBC dramas and stuff.
All the time.
You wouldn't.
BBC favourite.
You wouldn't see him in like much else for a while. Though I don't know how he got into the. But his character is great in The Irishman.
Al Pacino also.
Yeah, I always forget that he's in that movie because he just doesn't even seem like himself.
He's not playing one of his kind of classic roles, is he? He plays Jimmy Hoffa, the disappeared.
Which works better for him, I think. And as he got older, his acting kind of,
Yeah, he wasn't doing great up until that point. I mean, I've
watched like Milk, but
I've watched.
I still like a fine cheese sometimes. A little bit of Scent of a Woman. I'm in the dark here.
I have watched many a shitty Pacino film just because Pacino's in it, and there are a few times where actually like why am I watching this? But actually, Pacino does come through. Like, a lot of the time, it's just, he does make it worth watching.
We watched this god-awful, like, spy movie. I can't remember what it was called. I'm going to find it on Letterboxd right now, because it was like, Al Pacino plays this, like, he's training, like, secret agents, and this guy, he's like a hacker, but he's also, I think it's Keanu Reeves or something. He's like ripped, but he's a hacker, and he just, like, that's his job. He gets picked up to kind of be trained as a spy, and then as he goes along, he finds out that the training is like corrupt. I don't know. It's like there's like a whole Matrix ass plot twist where it's like, you thought we were the good guys, but actually we're like terror. I don't know. It's real shitty.
Yeah, I've never heard of this.
It was surreal.
I'm going to fill out whilst you find this.
I'm in the dark here.
Here's my impression of Scent of a Woman.
I actually watched Scent of a Woman.
He got an Oscar for that.
I like it. I think it's a good
I
film.
think it's a terrible, god-awful film.
Nah.
I hate that. I can't believe he got an Oscar for it.
I think it's alright. It's definite Oscar bait, but you know, just
I think it's one of those things where it's just like, you got this for your lifetime achievements. It's not actually for this performance. Like, what's his name? Sidney Poitier got one for Lilies of the Field or something, and that film was god awful. And Sidney Poitier given so many better performances, and also Leo for The Revenant. Revenant not great, and he got an Oscar for it. Very strange.
You know, Dog Day Afternoon could have been in my list.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's a great film.
I tell you what, I missed out. I didn't put a Scorsese or a PTA in there, and obviously, you know, we're both big Scorsese PTA fans. I think my favourite Scorsese would have to be Taxi Driver, and my favourite PTA probably Boogie Nights. So those two just missed out as well.
Yeah,
Although I think if you asked me on any different day, I could choose any of other of PTA's films and say it's my favourite and make a pretty strong case for it, except Hard Eight.
I was tempted to include Inherent Vice.
You do love Inherent Vice.
But I don't know.
Can't believe you still not read the book.
Yeah, I've just started reading Lord of the Rings, so it's gonna be a long time.
Yeah, you'll be in that for a while.
Oh, there it is. It's called The Recruit. It's Colin Farrell.
God, we figured that bit out.
So it's called It's called The Recruit. It's Colin Farrell gets picked up by a secret agent training force, and Al Pacino is like the master, and he's like, you can't trust anyone, including me. And the whole plot twist is that he actually couldn't trust him in the end. And
do you ever see that TV show with Al Pacino where he plays they're playing like Jewish hunters and like hunting?
Oh no, yeah, yeah. My friend was showing me that the other day, and it's ridiculous.
It wasn't great, and I think they were expecting it to get picked up for a second season because there's a plot twist at the end where Hitler's still alive and living in Argentina.
Played by Al Pacino.
I'm in
the dark here.
There's also a plot twist in that where Al Pacino is actually the bad guy.
Oh.
Which is what made me think of it.
Okay, well, you spoiled the show for me.
Well, sorry, but
I watched the first the first 10 minutes of it, and it's like there's a guy at his barbecue, and then this guy introduces his wife to him, and then she's like, oh, it's you!
Yeah.
And then it turns out he's like an undercover ex-Nazi who just rebuilt his life in America, and he kills his whole family in front of this woman. He's like, this took 20 years of work to get here. All gone because of you. And it's like, you could have just killed... I don't know. It was kind of stupid.
Obviously, that's very exaggerated, but something similar did actually happen. In New York. I think it was in New York. Because Marathon Man's based on that. And actually, one of the Holocaust survivors actually just saw one of the Nazi prison guards walking around fucking Manhattan or something.
That is a horrifying real-life experience to happen, but they really don't do it justice in this show.
No, they don't. They really over-dramatise it. Anyway, is that all four then?
That's all four of mine. for films. My first album is Blonde on Blonde by Bob Dylan.
Beautiful. I've also got a Dylan album as my first song.
I think it's going to be covered at some point on this podcast because we're both quite big Dylan fans. So prep yourself for that.
Oh yeah, I bet they're looking forward to that.
or we'll give you the exact dates and you can not tune in for those episodes depending on where you swing on the Dylan ladder. But I chose Blonde on Blonde as my favourite Dylan album because for me it's his most magical album, his most like spellbinding, his gold dust in that album for me. I remember being like a teenager and going through my brother's record collection and listening to records being all vintage, and there was a best of Bob Dylan record, and I was listening to it, and you get the old like, how many roads must a man, and you're like imagining old folky, you know, you're imagining Bob Dylan doing the walk, and you're like, you're kind of in that world of like, this is political and this is edgy and it's raw and it's just a man and his acoustic guitar. And then like at some point Just Like a Woman came on and it's this crazy organ and this beautiful like poetry, and it's like he's having so much fun with the words. And I think the album gets criticized because it's sort of like over the top with this like playfulness of language, but I think that's what makes it so great, is that it's just painting pictures with these words, painting these beautiful images and stories. And it's like, for me, that album and its lyrics are like a tapestry. I mean, the fact he was able to write an 11-minute song with Visions of Joanna is just insane to me. And it's, I think, even as like a sort of uneducated Dylan fan, just listening to that best of, and then that jumping out the album, and I think there was I Want You as well, and I was just like, this has got to be one of the most romantic songs of all time, even though he's talking about like some, you know, the child in his Chinese suit, you know, and he spoke to me and I took his loot, and then you're just like, well, he is just like completely having this like, he's just kind of shitting around with words and throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. But that's what it's you know what, whimsy. It's an album full of whimsy, and I think that's what captures it the best and puts it aside out of all of Dylan's discography. And I think for me, that is one of my favourite sides of Dylan. You know, I love the fact that he's just like having so much fun. It's like there's that video or that footage of him on tour from the Don't Look Back documentary, and he's like talking about the cat in the hat and the duck, and you know, he's like the dentist and the
the bit where he's reading the sign.
Yeah, he's just like fucking around with words, and you're like, this man just loved language that much that he was just like, I don't know, it's just so turned on and poetic, and
yeah, you can definitely see the influence of stuff like T.S. Eliot and the poets that he was reading at the time. You know what I mean? He's incredibly poetic, very like the metaphors. I don't think in his head he's like not writing songs, he's writing poems and then putting the poems to music. Do you know what I mean?
It's strange though, because he's never written poems, and he has, but
yeah,
his literary works aren't, apart from winning a Nobel Prize. He's not
just that side. The only songwriter to ever win a Nobel Prize.
Yeah, he's like, it's weird. I'm not ready yet. But I've got Tarantula on my bookshelf, and that's a novel that he wrote around that era. So maybe I'd enjoy it, but
maybe. I've always wanted to watch Renato and. Do you know that film he did with Joan Baez?
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I don't know where to find it. So anyone knows where to find that? Because that's
Stremio.
Okay. Me also, Dylan. Desire this time though. But one of the most divorced albums ever to exist.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah.
It could be Street Legal.
Yeah, okay.
Which is probably my, like, I was about to say second favourite, but I can't even say that. I'd say it's my like fourth, fifth favourite.
I mean,
it's up there for me. It's up there.
He's got a lot of albums, so it's still sensitive. Anyway. But Desire, I think I first listened to when I was maybe 15. Somebody had played me Isis or something, or maybe Hurricane, and I was like, I didn't know songs could be like that. I didn't know that you could tell these almost cinematic stories in a song, and finding out they were both on the same album, and then listening to the whole album has got this just mixture of like a sunny summer feeling, but also like there's real sadness to it. Like the stories of the hurricane and the stories of Joey, it's all tinged with this real melancholy to them that, you know, I immediately, when I listened to that album when I was 15, I was like, oh, this is my favourite album, this is great. Like, immediately as you do, as you find something new at 15. And then still, over 10 years later, I'm like, oh, this is still one of my favourite albums. This is fantastic, from top to bottom. There's no skip album. And I think it's fantastic. And want to know something interesting about one of the songs? I can't remember which one's the song that starts Hot Chili Peppers in the Blistering Sun.
Chili Peppers in the Blistering Sun.
It's Romance in Durango.
Romance in Durango.
Yeah.
Oh, that Sunday, yeah. Whatever he's singing on the chorus.
And Anthony Kiedis listened to that song, and he got the name for his band. Because he had a out-of-body experience.
You're not selling this album to people, man.
Oh, sorry. But
everyone's going to be coming for Bob Dylan. It was you! Oh, we've got the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Red Hot Chili Peppers in.
Anyway, back to you.
One more cup of coffee for the road. Christ. I would love to hear Anthony Kiedis sing Dylan classics.
Didn't they do? Oh, they did. They not a cover, but one of their songs is called like Subterranean or Homesick.
Alien or something. No, that's Radiohead.
They have something along those lines, didn't they?
Subterranean Homesick Funk. Lee, why don't you slap your bass?
Alright, come on. What's 48 minutes called?
My second album that I am choosing today is Purple Mountains by Purple Mountains. But it is, in fact, the last album that David Berman would make. David Berman, for those of you who don't know, worked with Stephen Malkmus from Pavement on their a project I believe started before Pavement called Silver Jews, which was, they used to work as security guards at an art museum in America, and they used to goof off and make songs in their spare time with one of the members from Pavement as well, Bob Nastovich. And I think David Berman was more of a core lyrical writer at that time, more of a he was involved with this, and it took the vocal helm a lot more than Stephen Malkmus in this project. And over the time, I think they recorded like 5 or 6 albums, but Steve kind of dropped out of the band after the second, third one, and David Berman went on to basically make it his solo project. But yeah, after some time off making music, I want to say at least 10 years, he quit music because he was feeling this overwhelming guilt because of his father was a cigarette marketing director, and he felt like this guilt and shame for being his son and having propagated so much negative karma into the world. So that was the story that he gave for giving up music, and he became very, very obsessed with his faith. He was Jewish, so the name Silver Jews isn't just like a like, it was a self-referential thing, because him and Stephen Malkmus were both of Jewish descent. And anyway, he came back to music in, I want to say 2019, to release under a new name, new project, Purple Mountains. And he'd just gone through a divorce, and he was living at the record label office, sleeping on the floor on a mattress, and it is probably the most depressing album of all time. Nice. But it's all backed by this band Woods. They used to play with Kevin Morby, nice. And Morby used to play with them, and then he went off and did a solo thing. But the band Woods would play with David Berman on this album, and it's got this great kind of country skiddly-dee feel to a lot of the songs. Like the first song is like almost, it's hilariously like goofy and positive, despite the fact that his lyrics are just talking about how fucked his life is. And there's one thing that David Berman was really good at was these opening one-liners, and he'd usually have a drum hit that would like accentuate it before the band comes in. So the first song, That's Just the Way I Feel, I need to find the lyric because it's just but yeah, every song in this album is such a well written and astute piece of lyricism. It's not, again, I think it's a depressing album, but what I really love about it is the playfulness of the words. Like he's so I don't know, he's just so clever with his wordplay. I'm trying to get out some lyrical examples here so that I don't butcher them myself, but anyway, so the album opens and it's like, well, I don't like talking to myself, but someone's gotta say it. Hell, I mean, things have not been going well. This time I think I finally fucked myself. And it's like, dun, 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 dun. It's like a Looney Tunes soundtrack, just like, and he's just talking about how like fucked up he is. But yeah, there's one line that I really, really love. I think it's the light of my life is going out tonight, and she don't look too depressed. And the light of my life is going out tonight in a pink champagne Corvette. And then at the end of this verse, he says, "The light of my life is going out tonight without a flicker of regret." So he's talking about his ex-partner and the light of his life. And then at the end, but then it kind of takes on this double entendre meaning. And after this album was released, he killed himself, and we were like, "Fuck!" He's literally like saying he's gonna kill himself.
Jesus.
It's really dark. It's really deep. But at the end of there's like this great wordplay and lyricism in all of the album. So yeah, I won't spend too much more time on it because I don't want to bum anyone out. But it's a great album if you're in your feels.
Yeah. No, I've always been into David Berman. You go on about him quite well.
You should listen to him. He's especially Silver Jews and stuff. It's like just like kind of alternative country, but with really, really, really unique and well written lyrics.
Yeah, it's almost like Pavement. It's to Pavement, but
yeah, it's like Pavement, but I'd say the lyrics are like not trying to be so nonsensical. They're a little bit more like meaning behind the nonsensical, you know. Yeah. Or not just, you know. I think Pavement has like kind of clever meanings where it's like, oh, this whole song is actually about like a civil war battle, or like this whole like there's generally shit like that as like because Stephen Mann was a massive history buff, but David Berman's kind of like lyricism is just it's unparalleled in my eyes.
Yeah, nice, cool. I knew there'd be something Pavement or Pavement adjacent. My next album is going to be Some Girls by the Rolling Stones.
Fuck, really?
Have you got it on there as well?
I almost did, but I won't. My next one is a Rolling Stones album.
Oh, is it really?
I had to double check, so I remember writing Some Girls down, but I changed it at last second because I was like, I decided another album. But anyway.
I'd be interested to see why. But no, my dad grew up on a lot of Beatles and Stones, so I had to choose one of them. I didn't want to choose both.
If you chose the White Album, I'd fucking walk out.
No, if I'd chosen the Beatles album, it probably would have been Revolver, I think, because that's what my dad used to play a lot when we were kids. No, Some Girls is another one that my dad used to play a lot. He said it reminds him of his dad and car journeys with him. And my dad used to have as his ringtone when my mum called him, "When the whip comes down."
Shout out to Paul Ray.
Shout out to Paul. And just that album. It's just so poppy and so groovy, and it feels like it's such a great example of what pop music was in the 60s. I think it's just fantastic. Faraway Eyes I could put on repeat. I could do that song forever.
It's just very funny that that's like Mick Jagger putting on this like
that weird American accent. But then also it like works at the same time.
Yeah.
Miss You. The bass line on that, the whole melody is just like
I think it might be the best ever. It's just fantastic. It's
Best whatever.
like the best rhythm, and I think that they're all just at top notch.
I'm a big Beast of Burden fan. I think that song.
Yeah, that was also
insane.
just fantastic. I think great.
That's like a pick me up, a musical pick me up. Whenever I'm like in the trenches, like I'll just chuck that song on. Makes me feel a little better about life.
Yeah, it's great. Just an all-round great album. I think it hits every spot, every emotional spot you need. Depressing, upbeat, in love, out of love.
Just My Imagination as well as a
Just
great
My
cover.
Great cover. I love that. I got obsessed with that song this year as well. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Great album cover as well. I think one of the best album covers.
Is it Warhol? Or it looks like it's trying to be a Warhol style.
Yeah, it's but it's cool. And yeah, it's like haircuts, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it just looks like those Warhol kind of...
Yeah. It's got Mick Jagger in a wig in it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. There you go. That's mine.
Nice. So I did think about it, and then I kind of had a look at the track listing, and I was like, yep, I love Beast of Burden, Far Away Eyes, I like Miss You, and then Just My Imagination, but then I saw Respectable, and I couldn't remember exactly how that one goes. I remember it being a good song.
Respectable. I can't actually remember the whole song, but I remember it, yeah.
So, and then there were a couple other songs I was like not too sure on, and then I was the usual two that I would also choose that from the Stones discography is probably like Exile, Main Street.
Yeah.
And then I also thought Let It Bleed, but for me, I think the best Stones album in terms of hits, and I'm thinking about taking this to a desert island as well. I would take Sticky Fingers all day, every day. Okay. It's just got everything on it, hasn't it? It's just got a bit of something for everyone. You've got Sway, you got what's the first track for? What's the
isn't the song called Sticky Finger?
No. But it's got probably my favourite song of all time on it. It's Wild Horses. It's got Brown Sugar. Yeah, Brown Sugar, which is a banger, despite the fact that the lyrics are a bit dodgy in this day and age.
Yeah.
But
they don't sing those lyrics anymore, do they?
No. Can't You Hear Me Knocking? Great. Bitch, You Gotta Move.
Dead Flowers, Moonlight Mile.
Dead Flowers is one of my favourite songs.
Yeah, great.
Wild Horses is probably my favourite song ever. Sister Morphine's great as well. Moonlight Mile. Yeah, I don't know. It's just so hard to choose a favourite Stones album, but
yeah, it is quite hard choosing favourites in general.
Yeah, I just think off the back of those three songs for me, off of Wild Horses, Dead Flowers, and Brown Sugar.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with someone the other day. Obviously, the Beatles and the Stones were a bit of a rivalry back in the 60s, right?
Yeah, I think it was a manufactured rivalry. Yeah, but, it's like, do you prefer Coke or Pepsi?
Yeah.
They're going to be they're probably owned by the same person.
Conspiracy out with Paul.
It's like the Marxism theory, the illusion of choice that is created by industries to, it's like that whole, the illusion of choice, and then your money's going to the same person. Anyway, let's not go down.
But I think the Stones had higher peaks and valleys, but the Beatles were a lot more consistent.
Yeah, I agree, because you've got those albums. You got Sticky Fingers, Let It Bleed, Beggar's Banquet. You got those three that follow, and there's one called Jamming with Ed Wood, which I don't know if that's an official release. But then you got Exile, and then after that you've got Goat's Head Soup, It's Only Rock and Roll, Black and Blue, and then Before Some Girls.
They've got some great albums.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic albums.
I don't know, man. I like them all. I was trying to say they had some bad runs, but I don't know. I guess the 90s weren't great for them, But
Yeah, I mean, 80s. I mean, they haven't been doing much recently. They're still going as well.
yeah, they did Hackney Diamonds. I've heard they're recording another album.
Yeah, they haven't had an album in a year, but it was okay.
That's Hackney Diamonds, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, not great.
But yeah, no, it's good. Mick Jagger's still moving. I tell you, I saw him. I think it was back in 2018 in the St Mary's Stadium.
Yeah.
They were really good. They were actually really fun to watch. Still, Mick Jagger still got those moves.
I believe it. He's on a vigorous exercise routine.
Is he really?
He's eating mashed up cucumber for breakfast. And probably like a kilogram of blood pressure pills, but
oh, God, I didn't. Yeah,
like they're probably doing more drugs now that for prescription drugs to keep them alive than they were before.
You know, I was watching a stand-up special the other day, right? I can't remember who it was. It was the guy that smokes loads and died of lung cancer. I can't remember his name. But he made this is from the 90s, and he made a joke in it that was like, I can't believe that Keith Richards is still going with the amount of drugs that he takes. And that was in the 90s, and that guy has died. That guy was younger than Keith Richards and has died since. And Keith Richards is still going, like over 30 years later. Crazy. Anyway, my third. Yeah, this one, I really struggled. I really love John Prine. I don't know if you've ever listened to John Prine.
Yeah. Brian.
But I struggled to choose just one. I think you could pick any of his 70s albums, and you could go, yeah, that's my favourite, because he didn't have a bad album in the 70s. And I think most people will go for the first album. I think the first album's great and it has a lot of good stuff on it. The folk stuff, Angel from Montgomery, one of my top songs ever. Sam Stone, great. I think, the flag song, Your Flag Decal and Get You Into Heaven Anymore. But I went with Bruised Orange, which is also just a fantastic album, and it's one where I think he more emblematic of his kind of playfulness, and I think he started, maybe not started, I think he was doing a bit more on Common Sense, but he played around with the instrumentation a bit more. So like John Prine, Diamonds in the Rough, Sweet Revenge, I think most of those are fairly straightforward instrumentation. But then after Common Sense, he really started playing around with it, kind of found his groove a bit more, and started doing songs like Iron or Betty, which is like quite funky and very playful. That the heck, just like the lyrics on there. I always say it's like if Bob Dylan had a sense of humour. Really fun, and I think he has this real great way of lacing in like these pieces of like Americana into his lyrics, and I think John Prine himself has become like a piece of Americana. I think he's great. He's so good, and it feels like whenever I listen to it, like, oh, this is the kind of stuff that you'd find at like a late night diner or something like that. He can make you feel just like every emotion again. Like it'll take you from Fish and Whistle, which is just about wanting to go fish, and then take you to stuff like Bruised Orange, Chain of Sorrow, Crooked Piece of Time, where he's complaining about the times in which we live, and the Hobo song where he's complaining about where all the hobos gone, and that he used to sing on the rail yards and stuff like that. And it's just a fantastic listen. I love like the first album with it's just the singer-songwriter guitar stuff, but I think as I get a bit older, I do like the funk that Bruised Orange has a little bit of, a bit more. That's the Way That the World Goes Round. I think it's just such a well-written song, so funny. It's just like it has a line in there about the clown in the no, not the clown. The guy in the bar. The water freezes and the sunlight comes through the window, and the water unfreezes. It's just like silly little things like that, little vignettes, and it's great. But everyone should listen to John Prine, I think.
All of the 70s
Yeah,
stuff.
I've not listened to too much of him, but there's like bits and bobs that come through the algorithm at me, and they do sit nicely. Let me see, is it?
I don't really think he has a bad album. I'm just looking now. I've not listened to standard songs for average people, but everything I've listened to is like has its. There's some stuff in the 80s that wasn't like. Endless Love. It's got some good stuff on it. Storm Windows is alright. But yeah, it didn't really have a bad album.
Oh no, I'm thinking of John Denver.
You're thinking I was talking about
Oh
John
no.
Denver.
I always get them confused. There was one that found its way through the algorithm was In Spite of Ourselves.
Oh yeah, that's
In Spite of Ourselves.
Yeah, that's the
We'll
one.
go home again on a bang.
Yeah.
Nice little lovey-dovey kind of song. Knocking on
Yeah.
Your Screen Door, I've got.
That's good as well. That's off his like last album, I think. Yeah, even like literally the last album he did. I mean, and he died a couple of years later, but he you can still see that like fun that he had, like Egg and Daughter Night, Lincoln, Nebraska, 1967, Crazy Bone. That is just like you'd think a guy in his like early 20s would have written that. Just, but no, he was like in his 70s, and he still had this like lust for life, and I think it's just so fun. To listen to him just go on about just random stuff. And yeah, and then his last song on that album, When I Get to Heaven, great. Just he wants to smoke a cigarette that's a mile long. I think he's such a great artist, such a great songwriter. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Cool. So my last album is 69 Love Songs by the Magnetic Fields.
Right.
It does what it says on the tin. It is 69 love songs.
Nice.
So Stephen Merritt, the songwriter for the Magnetic Fields, he is just obsessed with these concept albums. Like with one where it's like 51-year memoir, and he writes a song for every year of his life or something. And 69 Love Songs was the first of his foray into that, and I think it's the most long-standing and influential. There's just so much playfulness in the album. It sounds like half of it's recorded at home. It's like the first track I actually heard from this album was Fido, Your Leash Is Too Long, and it's like this weird sort of like archaic synths, like oscillating synth. It feels like some weird outsider pop, almost like something you'd hear from I can't remember the Silver Apples, which I'd like to loop around. Silver Apples were one of the first electronic music groups, and they are actually part inspiration for the Silver Jews' name. So there you go. But the Silver Apples, if you go back and listen to it, it's all very weird electronic pop. It's basically these guys that were fucking around with synthesizers and like, how can we incorporate these in some like poppy songs in the 60s, so quite experimental for its time. Anyway, so that's the first cut I heard of this album, and then I listened to it more and I realized, oh wait, there are actually some songs with real acoustic drums and ukuleles and like piano, and there's just sprawling arrangement on the album. Some songs are like just vocal, some songs are more throwaway than others. He's trying to do 69 love songs, but every song on the album feels like a true experiment that he's trying out, and there are some hits. There's some really poppy, cool singles off this album. It's like I Don't Want to Get Over You, which is a really good breakup song. And there's The Book of Love, which I think's kind of the most popular and overdone maybe on the album. It's just a bit cheese for me. I know it's 69 love songs, but I just feel like it's a little bit too sincere for my liking. There's like a song where it's like called Love Is Like Jazz, and it's just like loads of him taking the piss out of jazz, because he doesn't strike me as the sort of person to like jazz, and it's just like, love is really stupid and complicated and everyone pretends they know what's going on, but love is stupid, love is like jazz. Something's very fun, playful. There's a really, really good kind of it's like it almost feels like a country song. It's called Papa Was a Rodeo, and it's sung by the female singer in the band who I shamefully don't know his name.
No, her name.
Her name. But she sings. It's a story about these two people meeting in a bar, and they're kind of talking about how they're not like, I don't know, they're not normal because their dad was a rodeo, their papa was a rodeo, mama was a rock and roll band. But yeah, the whole plot twist is both of them had a dad, a cowboy dad, so they're both kind of like rough and rowdy, and then they end up finding love. And there's just lots of little snapshots and stories and throwaway ideas that are it's a little bit overwhelming to listen to on the first listen because it's like 2 hours long, but it is a good if you've got a car journey. I think it's a fun exercise into songwriting, and just it made me inspired to want to write more songs. So
cool. 69 love songs. I would mean isn't that actually. So my last one I kind of really struggled with. I have like lots of different albums I could have picked, but I really wanted to pick the Grateful Dead album because I love them and I have for a while now. But picking one Grateful Dead album is difficult, especially because they have so many.
Pick a live album.
I thought about picking a live album, and then because I really wanted to pick Europe '72, which is just a fantastic. But it's not even like one live performance; it's a few live performances, so that feels like cheating. So I went with Go to Heaven, which is their 1980 album with Althea on it. And Althea, I think, is possibly the greatest song ever made.
Okay, big claims on the Old Man Media podcast.
I mean, every time I listen to it, I'm like, oh, this could be like the great. The lyrics, the groove it has, and
what's so great about the lyrics?
I think it's just
Althea told me, and then I don't really know what the rest of the lyrics are. It's a jam. I just don't think it's like it's no Imagine by John Lennon. It's not gonna end world hunger. I'm joking, by the way. I don't think Imagine's the best.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Fuck up.
But it's great. No, I think it has got this like, it takes you on like a journey of like this guy going through this.
Go on, what's he doing? Althea told me.
Yeah, so but you may be Saturday's child all grown, moving with a pinch of grace. You may be a clown in the burial ground, or just another pretty face. You may be the fate of Ophelia, sleeping in perchance the dream, honest to the point of recklessness, self-centered to the extreme. It's just, how is that not? That's fantastic, isn't it? It's just
It's good. I like the song. I just feel like when you say it's the best song of all time, and then you say the lyrics are really good, I've got to question that. I got to get you to pay your money.
Okay, I mean,
Visions of Joanna.
Sorry?
Visions of Joanna or this?
Well, Visions of Joanna. But, I think you can see they're taking quite a bit of inspiration from Dylan, I think.
Yeah, because the lyrics were written by a guy that was kind of associated with the Beat Poets, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, for a lot of the...
Jerry Garcia,
Robert Hunter, yeah.
Oh, was Robert Hunter a Beat? Fuck, I should know that.
There's a big involvement, I think there's a big crossover with the Beats and the Grateful Dead, I think, and I think Robert Hunter...
I did know some of that. I didn't know Robert Hunter was a Beat Poet, but...
I feel like that he's kind of classed as one, but I might be wrong. I might be trying out my arse. That was the impression I was under. And like is it Neil Cassidy kind of went around with the Dead? Who obviously Neil Cassidy is who Jack Kerouac based On the Road on.
Yeah. I should probably know that, but I don't.
And Allen Ginsberg was rapped with Dylan, and probably Allen Ginsberg already.
Yeah, there was some crossover.
All these words
I don't know the
colliding.
exact I probably should know more about Grateful Dead history, but I don't.
You should watch the Amazon Prime documentary. It's great. It's pretty covers a lot of ground in their career. But yeah, Althea was off that album. What else on that album? It's not Touch of Grey, is it?
No, that's God, what's that on? That's on In the Dark.
Their biggest hit.
Alabama Getaway. Don't Ease Me In. Lost Sailor. It is a good album. I'm not exactly sure it's their best album, but
I'm a big Working Man's Dead guy.
yeah,
That would be my
great.
top pick if I had to choose an album, but just because it's like, I feel like the Grateful Dead aren't great at albums in terms of they're a live band. They're so good live that you kind of just, and their whole thing is like recreating not recreating, but like, you know, being in the moment and just going with each performance at each day, each show, each version, and that's why they've got such a devout fan base to being like, oh, I love this version from like, I don't know, Alabama, Arkansas, 1972, and you know, there's all these different, like, people are very enamored by their ability to be vulnerable and change every night that they play. I think that encapsulates the Dead far more than studio stuff, but in terms of them giving a studio album a good old go, and they were great, obviously, as studio albums, but I think Working Man's Dead is my favourite in terms of the songs on it and the performances, and it is stripped back. It isn't, you're not going to get that live from them, I don't think.
That's definitely, I would say, a good entry point into Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Working Man's Dead. I think they're most accessible. That
or American Beauty.
I know, I was about to say American Beauty as well.
Yeah.
Which came out in the same year. I actually didn't know that. 1970. It's crazy. Both those albums, fantastic. I made it a point to listen to those studio albums and then get into the live stuff. Which I think if I had to pick an... Also Blues for Allah is great. I didn't ever listen to that one.
Yeah. Franklin's Tower.
Fantastic album. Did you know for King Solomon's Marbles, the instrumental, they used Ozymandias by... what's his name? Peter Shelby? Peter Shelley. Mary Shelley's husband wrote a poem called Ozymandias, which is about like a statue, a broken down statue being found in the desert, about this once great ruler who, and I think the plaque on it says, "Look upon ye mighty in despair," and they used that as the influence for like, I think it was the I'm not exactly sure. I don't know music terminology, but I used it for inspiration for the instrumental, which I thought was really interesting to use a poem to inspire that. But yeah, just a fantastic band in general, and really interesting. And I think that's 4 films and 4 albums.
Yeah.
Are we going to do
2 books? Have you got 2 books prepared?
I do. Should we rattle them up? We haven't got loads of time. To go into loads
we've
of
got
detail.
plenty of time.
Okay. My first one is Giovanni's, written by James Baldwin. It's only a short book. It's not super long. But I read that, and it's completely outside of my realm of like what I've experienced in my life. I think I read it in like 2018, so I would have been 18 at the time. Completely outside the realm of anything I'd experienced or seen, or but James Baldwin has this fantastic way of making you care about these people, and his writing is just so good. It's just magical. Like it's I don't want to call it magical because it feels very real, and that makes it feel not real. And he really makes you. He has a way of understanding people and what they're going through, and the challenges they face, and why people act in certain ways, and he likes to figure that out. And like, so the crux of this one is like these 2 guys are living together in Giovanni's room, and one of them decides to leave. He has to get out of the room because he effectively is thinks he is a homosexual, but doesn't want to be because he'd be shamed by the rest of society, effectively. So he goes with the girl, and it's James Baldwin making you empathise with not only the guy that he's left, but also the guy for leaving, because it makes you understand why. And it's great, set in Paris, I think in like the 50s, and really really interesting, really well written. Yeah.
Cool. My first book is The Wind-Up Bird Chronicles by Murakami. It was, I say, in my teenage years, I didn't really read much. I kind of, as a kid, I read a lot, and then I sort of hit a midpoint of teenagers where I just, I'm talking about 16 to 18, where I just discovered other things to keep me busy. And I came back to books, I say, in about 2018, 2019. I started reading The Plague by Albert Camus in the turn of 2019 to 2020.
Oh, wow.
And I got it for Christmas, the Christmas of 2019, started reading it in 2020. And then the world went into lockdown. So second book I read after that in lockdown was The Wind-Up Bird Chronicles. And I went through an absolute reading craze in lockdown. I must have read like 30 books in like the 2 or 3 months that we were in lockdown. I loved it. And The Wind-Up Bird Chronicles like, kind of reignited my passion for reading again. I heard about it through being a big Radiohead nerd and finding out that Tom York was a massive fan of this book. So then I went and I read into it and bought myself a copy. And it just hits you with this I've never had that kind of feeling from literature before, where you kind of felt with this, there's like a listlessness, but it's not boring. It's like a really, it captures this unexplainable feeling of like life, just the in-between parts of life that people don't talk about, after you finish your coffee and before you get into the car to go to work, and the little moments of, almost the bleakness, but it's not sad. It's something about it. It's a book about like all the weird parts of life that you don't really look at. And it's basically follows a guy who gets left, or his wife disappears completely out of the blue one day, and he gets laid off, and he's just sort of sitting around the house, has one bottle of beer. A cat shows up. He makes friends with a cat, and then slowly it gets more and more absurdist throughout the novel. And before this, I'd never read any Kafka, but I think as I went on and I read some Kafka, I realised that was a big inspiration for Murakami. It's like capturing the mundaneness of life in the most captivating and imaginative way is the best way of putting it. And I think the story is, it goes off into weird dreamscapes and the subconscious, and it is like a little bit out there, but at its core it's just talking about a man living alone after his wife disappears, and trying to figure out this sort of mystery. But he's not trying that hard. I need to read it again, because that was in 2020, so that's like 5 years ago now. But yeah, I ended up reading a lot of Murakami from that point on, and some of his books have really left a marking impression on me. But then some of them, they kind of rehash the same themes and ideas that go on in previous ones. So I'm always chasing that high of the first Murakami book I read, and that was The Wind-Up Bird Chronicles.
Nice. No one's been meaning to read Murakami.
You never read a single one?
Never read a single one. My dad keeps pestering me to read 1Q.
I've got that on my shelf. I haven't read it, but my brother read it.
Yeah, apparently that's very weird. My second book. We're only doing 2 for books, aren't we? Are we doing 4?
We can do 4. I haven't got 4 prepared.
I haven't got 4 prepared. Let's do 2. The Savage Detectives by Roberto Bolaño. There's a book I read actually fairly.
What was it called, sorry?
The Savage Detectives.
The Savage Detectives.
By Roberto Bolaño. I think I was quite easily fooled by the title. I thought it was a detective novel, because I love detective novels. And it's by an author that I'd always been meaning to read. The Chilean guy
who was living in Mexico for a long time, and tries to become almost quite militant about writing in Mexico, and founded this group of writers, and they I can't remember what they called themselves, but they eventually all kind of departed, and The Savage Detective is like a fictional chronology, or like a fictional document of his time in Mexico City, where he, with a bunch of other poets and writers and novelists and such, all got together and were so passionate about writing, and almost to a militant kind of extent. Like they foregone relationships just to focus on writing and such. And the book focuses on these two guys who go off looking for this lost Mexican poet who had a couple of poems published in magazines, and that was it. They were obsessed with her. They thought she was great. They wanted to point out everything she did, and they go off looking for her, and they bring along these other two as well, and they go off into the Mexican desert. But they've also got this pimp chasing them, who's after them because one of the people they've taken with them is one of his what's the, I don't know what the word is, one. She works for him, and
secretary.
Sure. No, like he's a pimp. She's a prostitute.
A hoe.
One of his hoes. Yeah. Sure. Paul. We've lost all the female listenership at this point. But if we had any,
No, there's definitely
there's one.
Jake's out there.
And he so they go off into the desert and they find this, but it's not. And then the rest of the book is taken up with vignettes of all of the people that knew these two. So these two then split off and went their own separate ways and travelled the globe. And it's about everybody who interacts with them and the impressions they have of these two people, and stories about these two people and the other people they've interacted with, and talking about these two guys. And they're almost all negative. They like, nobody particularly likes these guys, and they seem to cause trouble everywhere they go. But it's so beautiful, the book. It's got this real energy about it where you'll read it for 10 pages and you'll think it's a slog, and you're like, oh god, why am I reading this? It's written in such a kind of a weird way, and it's like a diary, but it's not, and it's really odd. And then you'll get to one bit and it's like magic, and it's like he's unlocked something, and it makes you feel something really deep. The way he inhabits these characters and has fleshed out this whole world, although that's not the point. It's more the point of their views on life and their views on, he gets everything in it. I mean, it's almost easier to talk about what's not discussed in the book. Like every theme you could think of is talked about at some point, and through all of these, just like there's a bit in the book where, you know, a dad catches one of these guys sleeping with his daughter, and then he has this like mental crisis, and it's just it feels like everything you need to know about life is in that book. How to find the meaning, and how to find your goal, and how to live a life worth living. Everything is in that book, I think. It's fantastic.
Give it a read.
Yeah. Yourself.
I don't know how you follow everything. The answer to everything in life, the answer to the meaning of life in a book. But my second favourite book is Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
Yes. No, I haven't. I read East of Eden.
I've got that on my shelf as well. All the books on my
That
shelf
was
to
a
read.
Christmas present.
It was a Christmas present, and I am working on it. But I love Grapes of Wrath. I read that in lockdown as well, and I just think again, it's I maybe I've chosen these two books because they're from a time where I fell in love with reading again, and since then I've never really not been reading a book. But apart from to eat and sleep, but Grapes of Wrath really struck me as, I don't know, as someone who loves country music, and I love Americana, but I don't come from America. I wasn't brought up there. It feels like it adds a lot of context, and it adds a kind of, even though fictional, based in some sort of reality world of the Great Depression era, and kind of where America was at in that time. And it follows someone, I can't remember what the main character's name is, but he comes out of prison, and he has to re-find his family who have moved. Oh no, they're still on the family farm, but then he gets there, and then everything's dried up, things are not going well, the farm's falling apart, no one's paying money for their crops. They find out that they can go down to California to pick grapes. So there's a lot of rumors spreading around up in his area. I can't remember which part of America it is.
Oklahoma.
But Oklahoma. In the Oklahoma hills where I was born. He's so fucking sidetrack myself there. All of these people, all these farmers, they pack up on the promise of better labour pay and just more work, essentially, to go down and pick grapes. So they all make these crazy travels. They leave their homes, they pack up, they get into cars, and they all travel across the country on the promise of pay and work. And then they get to California and they find out that it's all been a ruse, and it's the owners of the farm, and who could be seen as greedy capitalists, capitalizing on the fact there's no work up in the north. And they sent out the rumors and the job advertisements that there was more work in California, so that they would have an influx of workers and be able to pay them less. So they ended up paying everyone peanuts, and everyone was working, and all of their crops got picked, and it was very efficient, but fucked over the working class, and a lot of people's lives were ruined from this whole venture across America to get there. And along the way, people kind of, like, some of the family split off. Some of I won't spoil too much, but you basically just follow this family falling apart through the Great Depression era America, on a false promise. And I think it's just such a bleak but real encapsulation of our times and capitalism, and the ravaging effects it has on humanity.
Yeah, he's great. I remember studying him in school with Martin and that, being really, even at such a young age, blown away by just how much. I think his characterization was always his greatest asset. He was really good at making people feel human.
Tom Joad, that's the name.
Tom Joad, of course. How could you forget? He was like Woody Guthrie fan. Can't remember the name, Tom Joad. Yeah, he's great. It's such a big influence on Woody Guthrie as well, who I love.
Yeah. It's such a massive piece of literature, I think, and I would recommend anyone, even if you're not from. That's the thing. It's at the time, I think he's trying to write it to encapsulate this certain part of America, but it's so much bigger than that. It's very like it feels like a symptom of our times, and it's not gotten better, folks.
That's great. It's definitely an encapsulation. I would call it. I think it's a period of time, period of history where people should read about more. I think it's. Well, there was enough food to go around. There was enough water to go around. They were just hoarding it to keep the prices up.
Yep. Yeah, it's capitalism gone awry. And it's like, once it gets to that point, surely you've got to be like, something's going wrong here. But instead, we've kept on the same path, and it leads us to where we are today.
Yeah. So
Well, thanks for listening to Old Man Media.
that was that light note. No, I mean I think hopefully it's people know a bit more about us now and what our tastes in film and music are. I think also it's just fun to talk about your favourite things.
Yeah, this is a fun episode to do. Hopefully it is a fun episode to listen to. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've got to talk about something we don't like. Because we talked about a lot of stuff we do like.
Should we review a Greta Van Fleet album?
I've never listened to them. I listened to one song and I'm like, these guys just want to be Led Zeppelin. Is have I got the right idea there, or is that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like we're listening to B-Stock Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, it's just the front man thinks he's Robert Plant.
Yeah, if any listeners out there want to write in any suggestions for us to do episodes on their favourite album or their favourite movie, maybe we'll end up hitting one of your suggestions and we can riff on that for an episode.
Rip you for it on air.
We can riff you personally.
Yeah, we'll name and shame you as well if it's bad. Yeah, well, if anyone's gotten an hour and 37 through, they can leave us a comment. Great.
Alright, see you on the flip side.
Right.